Good morning, everybody, and this is your S&P 500 day trade setups for today. So, channel or wedge break? I think that's the thing that we need to ask ourselves. So remember, yesterday we spoke about the wedge here. So there is the top of the wedge, there's the bottom of the wedge. So is that a wedge break and a retest, or has it just formed a channel? And I think the ultimate level for a channel break would be this 4,018, but I just round that down to 4,000. So that 4,000 level, which will be probably around there on the swing low here. If we're right, it's 4,009, so it's close enough. So that is the area to pay attention to for some form of a recovery to start. You can see how this was rejected quite strongly on Friday going into the long weekend. It also makes sense. I wouldn't want to be holding any longs when the charts are looking like this going into the weekend. So obviously sell out and then wait for better days as such. The structure is also forming to the downside here. And I'm just going to, I'm not going to draw all these levels in, but you can see there's tails, 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 tails. So there's a whole lot of fractals in this area, and that's kind of where price is bouncing around at the moment. So the difference here on the other indexes have got diversions. We don't have much diversions here, and that's a slightly higher high. So there's nothing glaringly obvious there to tell us what's going on. Moving down to the 3 hour. No diversions as such, but we do have a higher low, and this is the weekly low here. That's kind of the weekly high up there. So range, this is kind of what we're doing at the moment. We're trying to find some feet. So every time we get going, something happens in the world that drives us back down, and the debate at the moment is this going to continue until sort of through the year? So we end up with, I think we're like 20% down at one stage. So is that going to continue going into the close of the year, or are we going to get some kind of a recovery? Now, at the moment, it is not clear. That what we're seeing is complete chaos. Trend is down on the hour, so we should definitely be looking to move with the trend. Oscillators are starting to grip to the upside. The only concern that I have right now is I don't want to be jumping in during the European session. I think I'd rather wait for the USA session. You're going to have people coming back from the long weekend. You've got a long weekend headache to get rid of. So it depends. You may be grumpy when you get back to the trading desk, or you may have had a really good week and you want to see what you can do to the market. So institutional traders are coming back into the market, and they are either going to be really aggressive in one direction, which would be down, or alternatively, they're going to see they've had time to reflect, and they see some signs of recovery, and they're going to drive us up. So for me, this level here that we formed yesterday would more than likely be tested today, and that is 39.23, and that would definitely be a line in the sand for us as well. So a break below that and a retest, then you're looking for a move to the bottom of the channel. You're looking for a continuation down here, which would take us round to 38.50, then 3800. That's pretty much the long story, long and short of that one. And then the converse is true on a move above 39.74. You can see that was the previous area of resistance. We broke above it. We failed to find support there. So if that turns into support, then you can start expecting a gentle move to the upside. If that is rejected, which would coincide with the top of the range, which is kind of what I would expect, you'd want to kind of be short off that area. Then you're looking for a move back down to the downside. So I wouldn't be wanting to get into this market until the US opens. Now, dropping down to 50-minute, things are changing pretty rapidly here after hours. So we've got a crossover here. We're sort of flirting with the 155. We're in amongst the moving averages at the moment, but pay attention to this. Okay, look at the diversions here. There's the previous swing low. There's the current swing low. and we're grouping to the downside. So this is all indicating that this is a range break, and a range break means a retest of the range, which is what we're doing right now. It's 170 points. So we're looking, there's the area right there. So that's the current target with the structure we're seeing at the moment. So this is what may happen during the European session. You see this little flag forming, and then you're looking for a move to the upside, maybe a little bit higher than this. But I think the USA session, I don't see it just gapping up like this. I see it coming back to test this low at 39.23. That is a pretty strong line in the sand for the USA at the moment. So I think that's kind of going to be tested. And it's also where Friday market closed. Yeah, so you need to try and ignore this price action. It will offer some sort of support and resistance levels, but it is holiday price action, so the market was closed. So the actual market close was here, somewhere in this area. So what you're looking at is the traders will be eyeing this to say they don't want a gap there, because that would be a weekly gap, so they're going to want to close that. So that's kind of the view that I've got now. That's why I say wait for the US session. So yeah, that's kind of the lines in the sand at the moment. I think if we come back into this range and we find support, then you're looking for moves up to come and test here. I would just work with the moving averages, and you'd probably even be better off going down to a 5 or a 6 minute chart. Okay, it's going to be all over the place now, but once the USA opens, you should see some kind of structure forming. That's kind of my view at the moment. Sit on hands until the USA open. Don't try to trade the futures. I don't think there's going to be much on offer. I think a DAX is going to be a little bit, well, it is under a huge amount of pressure, but I think the DAX is really concerned about inflation and energy prices at the moment, which is going to drive inflation horribly if they can't get something under control there. So yeah, it's a wait and see, I think, until the USA opens. So for me, that'll be later tonight. At least we enjoy the day, and then we'll have a look at it late tonight. But those are the levels to pay attention to. Pay attention to this top here. You might as well just draw it in. It's very messy, but give yourself some kind of indication. Each one of these tails will offer support that would close that gap, and wherever the actual market closed, and if I'm correct, it was around here somewhere. There it is there, sorry. So it's in the middle of the, or on these pin bars here, so it's up in that area. So just pay attention to this zone. The shorts for me would only come into play after 39.23 gives way. Not going to look to jump into that. I will pay attention to this for support. But at the moment, I think you probably find support, bounce up, and then start drifting lower. You'll have a big spike down in the US Open, and then sort of bounce around in a range. You're going to form some kind of a range. If it's going to be the top here or somewhere here, you can see how messy it is with all the lines at the moment. So that's kind of the view, completely confused. But we will just pay attention to what we see on the lower time frames until we get some catalyst or some indication that we have a direction. At the moment, I don't think we have a direction up or down just yet. We've just got volatile play. Hope that helps, and we will catch up with you tomorrow morning. Cheers for now.